Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. So while we got a lot to talk about. First off, I didn't make a formal video about us signing the Vikings defensive lineman Ifeadi Odenigbo to a one-year deal. I think it was only about $2 million. And this is a guy who's had 7 sacks in the season. Last year, he ended up having 3 sacks. Most were coverage sacks, but he's got a couple of pass rush moves. He's a guy that he's pretty much probably going to play kind of like a Leonard Williams, BJ Hill role as far as that 3-4 defensive end. He's going to be that guy. He's not really going to be an outside linebacker stand-up rusher. But he is going to be a very good rotational defensive line depth guy. I really like the signing for that reason. And he was cheap. There's no risk to it, just like the John Ross thing, except I think Odenigbo is probably a little bit more solid. He's been a consistent guy in the league. This is his 3rd year in the league now, and he's produced. I mean, he's got that 7-sack season, and I think a guy who's capable of doing that, if he's your 3rd or 4th option at that spot, that's a really good thing. And if he, comes here and has a big year or has some kind of a breakout season, he's going to be looking for big money next year. And that's perfect for us because while he's improving himself, these teams are going to be seeing, him improving himself, and we get to reap the benefits of him improving himself this year. So I like the signing. I think there's room for him to grow, and he looks like he's going to be a good player. So that out of the way, we had another big signing today, and of course, I'm going to get to the Golladay news, but I want to keep this mostly about the signing today because the Golladay news hasn't completely wrapped up yet. So we signed Kyle Rudolph today. And it's a 2-year deal up to, I've seen some reports say up to 14, and these are reputable sources. Some are saying up to 14 over 2 years. Some are saying up to 16 over 2 years. And I'm guessing it's really based on incentives. So I don't know what his base cap hit is going to be. I'm not sure of that at all. But it looks like it's probably going to be a team-friendly deal because they said up to. So I don't know what his actual cap number is going to be. But Kyle Rudolph, he's definitely not the same player he used to be. He's not, because he was one of the best tight ends in the league in his prime. But Kyle Rudolph is still a guy who can go up there and get those 50-50 balls. And that's what we need on our team. Last year we had Golden Tate. That was the only guy who really was consistently winning these jump balls. We're working on getting Kenny Golladay, but we did not have a big body to do that at all. And Kyle Rudolph, at the very least, he doesn't offer the athleticism of an Evan Engram or, a guy that's going to catch the ball and do a lot of crazy run after the catch stuff. But Kyle Rudolph is going to be incredibly solid as far as going up and getting those 50-50 balls, being a big target, knowing how to use his body to box these guys out. So if we run a hitch in the middle of the field, Kyle Rudolph is going to catch the ball. He's only had 1 drop over the last 3 years. So Kyle Rudolph is going to be that big body Jason Witten kind of tight end that can shield people away, get those first downs, catch the passes that are thrown to him. He's got sure hands, and that's why I love the fact that we went out and signed him. Some people think it's an overpay, but I'm waiting for the specific numbers to come out to see what his actual cap hit is and how that's going to affect the roster, based on incentives and signing bonus and how that works out. So him as a player, I'm happy that he's on our team. I'm really happy he's on the team. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting another signing that happened since I last made a video. I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure I don't think I am. Another thing that happened that was kind of unfortunate was that Hassan Reddick got signed. As I'm making this video, I'm seeing the reports that Troy Hill, cornerback from the Rams, got signed. That was somebody I wanted. But going back to the Rudolph thing, this brings into question. With Kyle Rudolph on this team as a solid tight end and the fact that we could be paying him, some reports are saying up to $8 million a year if he hits his incentive. So I guess maybe that's a Pro Bowl. Maybe that's certain amount of games played, certain amount of catches. But if we're going to commit that kind of money to him, it seems like it's very similar to the amount of money we're committing to Evan Engram. Now, a lot of people are saying we're just going to run the 2 tight end sets. That's fine. But I think, personally, that we're going to trade Evan Engram. I think that we're going to get rid of Evan Engram. Now his deadline already passed. We're not able to just cut him and get all of that money back. I don't know how it works if we trade him though. So I'm thinking that the Giants are going to look to move Evan Engram for a pick in this draft, whether that be on draft day, whether that be soon to get under the cap, whether that be, in the next couple of weeks. But I think that Evan Engram will be moved. And a lot of people don't agree with me. If he's still on the team, fine. But I think that Evan Engram is going to be moved because we brought back Toy Lolo. For some reason, we thought it was important to bring him back. Caden Smith is a guy who's a solid tight end, and I don't think they want to get rid of him. And then you got, Evan Engram there. And you got to think that they'll probably address the position probably somewhere in the mid to late rounds of the draft. So I'm thinking that they're trying to get Evan Engram somewhere else and get a 4th-round pick in return. Some of these trades for some of these tight ends, I think I saw that Zach Ertz is on the market. I mean, Zach Ertz is a good tight end, and he probably still has some years left in a new team on a fresh start. But I think Evan Engram at his age with his athleticism probably is attractive on the market too. So we'll see if we get anything for Evan Engram, if they're even shopping him. But in my mind, I'm thinking that we're trying to move Evan Engram for a pick because it goes back to this. Getting under the cap is one thing. And then another thing is picking up that extra mid-round pick to grab that depth receiver, to grab that depth O-lineman, to grab that depth defensive tackle. Tyler Shelvin could be a 3rd or 4th-round pick, the 350-plus pound defensive tackle who could play that nose tackle day one and plug up holes for you. So we can get a lot. We can go a lot of different directions. We can go corner in the 3rd round. Depending on what we get for Evan Engram, I'm definitely thinking that the Giants are shopping him. And if they're not shopping him, they're taking calls on him. They're not hanging up the phone. He's not an irreplaceable kind of player. And he's in a contract year. I don't think that they're going to break the bank next year to bring back Evan Engram. Now, getting to the Golladay news. The Golladay news, man. People have told me for months, we don't have the money, the cap. We just don't have the money. Listen, when the Giants or when any NFL team wants a player bad enough, and that player has a desire to play for that team, they're going to work something out. Now, it's not 100% that Golladay is going to be here, but it looks like the Giants are in heavy discussion with Golladay to talk to him. He has a meeting scheduled. He's supposed to have dinner with them. They said the meeting might lead until tomorrow. So we might get news tonight, or we might get news midday tomorrow or tomorrow night. But Golladay seems that he wants to play for the Giants. I've seen reports saying that he's been pushing to play for the Giants. So they're finally making this meeting happen. He had a meeting yesterday on Wednesday with the Chicago Bears. He left without a deal. And it seems like the Giants have him right where they want him. It's all about how the physical works out, they're looking at him based on injury to see if his body can hold up because he has had a couple of injury issues. And I think if that checks out, he will be a New York Giant. I don't know how much they're paying him. I'm guessing it'll be somewhere from $14 to $16 million a year. Obviously, his cap hit year one will probably be pretty low. But Kenny Golladay looks like he's going to be a Giant. And if or when we sign him, I'll come out with a more detailed video. But what I see the Giants doing is we need more big bodies on this team. And it started with Kyle Rudolph that we signed today. We didn't sign him, but we agreed with them today on terms. And bringing in a Kenny Golladay and a Kyle Rudolph on the same team is going to be amazing. I'm thinking we'll probably maybe get another big body in the draft. So that way we can play a ton of different styles of football. In the red zone, we can throw that ball up. In the red zone, we have a route runner like Sterling Shepard or whoever we take in these first 3 rounds at receiver that'll be able to get open. We have a Saquon Barkley who can run routes or hand the ball off to him and get open. We can run an option with Daniel Jones and try to run into the end zone from there in the red zone. There's a ton of things we can do in the red zone. And then when you go back into in between the 20s, when you look in between the 20s, we're going to have a guy like Darius Slayton. We're going to have a guy like John Ross who can stretch the field. Depending on if Jalen Waddle comes here, you're going to have that dude who can stretch the field deep. And you're going to have the possession receiver like Kenny Golladay. And he can also stretch the field deep and go up and make those 50-50 catches down the field. If Evan Engram stays here, you're going to have a guy who can run that seam. You're going to have a guy who can run those drag routes and use his speed. and you're going to be able to turn around and hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley. So this offense is shaping up to be able to do everything. They can play the speed game, they can play the vertical game, they can play the possession game, and they can turn around and just hand the ball off too. So I'm excited about this Golladay signing. I hope we get it done soon. Tomorrow's my birthday. I would love for that news to come through on my birthday. But you guys let me know what you're thinking of all of these Giants moves. I'm liking it pretty far. I'm liking it so far, but it's of course, contingent on us signing Golladay and closing this deal. So hopefully we get it done. You guys let me know what you're thinking. So if you made it this deep into the video, I'm calling you a D6 squad member. If you're a D6 squad member, you got to hit that subscribe button. You got to turn on that notification bell. And listen, I make all kinds of content for NFL teams. So if you're not a Giants fan, don't worry. I'll cover your team. If I'm not covering your team, let me know. And have a good one.